The Bear and Cheryl Show. Okay, I'm trying a new camera angle. What do you guys think? There's baby. Hey, everybody. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Musical interlude. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Boom. Boom. Where else are you going to see stuffed animals dancing in such an extraordinary way? But on the Bear and Cheryl Show. So many things have happened. Actually, my keto's going amazing, and I think got a new naturopath. I'm so excited about, you know. And my car came somehow or other. My car came just the same, and I love him. His nickname is Dude because he's such a dude. And so it's very, very good. Yeah. But we thought today what we would actually do is I got a new book. I mean, I got several books, but I'm just super excited about this particular book because I'm wondering why they did it. Maybe to celebrate, but I thought we are reading this. This is Bear's Book Corner material. And we are honored to be reading such an extraordinary and amazing book as members of the Commonwealth, the British Commonwealth that we are. So, here we are. Now, baby, you need to sing the song with me. Okay, are you gonna? You promise me? You promise me you're gonna sing it? Cause you got the okay. You got like Bear has. I mean, I have the skills, but Bear has the skills more even. Cause this is your job, baby. This is not conducive to the people. We can't really. Okay, thanks. That's your best side, definitely. So I think we should do a Bear's Book Corner, right? Okay, right? Okay, mwah. Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner, right now. Bam, bam, bam. Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner, Bear's Book Corner, right now. Bam, bam, bam. Thank you, baby. That was one of our best Bear's Book Corner. What do you think? Yeah, I know. I think so too. I know. Say hey to the people. Hey. Hey, everybody. Yeah, so it happens to be Friday night. And I'm going to read this amazing book. Do you want to guess? Do you want to guess what it is? It's a little golden book about a very important thing that just happened quite recently. Anybody? Kind of over the sea, or we say across the pond, maybe? Fish and chips? Bangers and mash? The name Ainsley? It's Queen Elizabeth! Boom. Queen Elizabeth II seriously has her own golden book. I swear to God, I just got this. And there's a few other ones. Let's see if I agree with all of them. No to Camilla Harris. Sorry. Martin Luther. Boom. I love it. Joe Biden. Actually, he probably would enjoy a good golden book himself these days. Yeah, I don't see Donald Trump's one here, though. Sorry. Now, that would be funny. I'm just, that would just be funny. I'm just thinking it would be funny. Where's Winston Churchill's? Winston Churchill is the greatest of all possible rulers. Except maybe me, when I get to be one. Yeah, he needs to be on this cover here. And then, of course, Betty White, extraordinary. She was quite the person, So, I guess we'll see. Oh, Dolly Parton, God bless her. She deserves her own. I don't know who this woman is. Yeah, so, anyway, it's cool. Queen Elizabeth has her own golden book. Yeah, I'd read it. So, let's see, because if you know anything about her extraordinary life, she wasn't even supposed to be queen, right? Because queens aren't actually a natural thing, right? We've never had anybody else. I'm 54, and she was my queen when I was born. And of course, being Canadian, it was sure a big deal, and hope to be a big deal again when we get some good, awesome government in again that respects, the monarchy and Canada and pretty much everyone and everything. So yes, that's good. Well, everyone and everything worth being with. You know what I mean? So that's exciting. And she's been queen. I'm 54, but she's very aged now. But yes, I believe she had her platinum anniversary. I watched it on TV. It was very cool. She had her platinum anniversary, and Bear and I watched it. We really enjoyed it. What did you think, Bear? What did you think? I know. I thought it was super good. Bear thought it was super interesting. He's never seen one, but I've seen a few because I followed her, because Canada follows her, and of course the Queen Mother as well. So, yes, so there's going to be a king very soon, and probably for the rest of most of our lives, because kings are much more common than queens, but the only reason she was queen was because her father died quite young, because her father was never set to rule. You may or may not know this, but they don't raise everybody to rule. They only raise the firstborn, and the firstborn was not her father, which was George. It was, oh yeah, what was his brother's name again? Um, yes, I can't remember at the moment, but he was supposed to rule. He was supposed to rule, and he married an American and said very much like what Harry did. And so you abdicate because you can't marry an American. You can't really do that. So, and well, he's not really in line for the throne anyway. But of course, his brother William most definitely is in the line for the throne. His father might rule for a little while, but he's in his 70s now already. So he won't be ruling for that long if he's already in his 70s. But William could rule for a very long time because he's in quite good health, and then his children will rule. That's sort of the way it works. So Harry really doesn't have a chance to rule unless something happens, which is what Queen Elizabeth wasn't expecting to rule either, right? But then her father had to take the throne because the other guy wouldn't, he abdicated. So there was only him left, right? So he was not prepared for the kingship. He was not prepared for the kingship, and then he only had daughters, right? He didn't have any sons. So she had to be queen because there wasn't anybody else. There was nobody else that could actually do it, right? And so that's why she was queen for so long. And her mother was the queen mother, right? And she was glorious. She was glorious as well. But now when she dies, again, it will be Charles for a little while, as long as he's alive. But then it will be William, and it will be William's children. So George, King George, it will be, which of course is his, what, great-grandfather's? Yeah, it was Queen Elizabeth's father. Hang on. Yes, great-grandfather, because that was her father, and she's his grandmother, so great-grandfather. So he will reign one day. So that is very interesting. I just wanted to give you an update about Queen Elizabeth and all the comings and goings. So let's read this book together, people. All right, we've got Queen Elizabeth, a little golden book. Biography. Oh, look at this. It's so pretty. Elizabeth Alexandra Mary Windsor, because that's their last name, in case you didn't know, was born in London, England on April 21st, 1926. She was just like any kid, except for one thing. Elizabeth was a princess. Her little sister Margaret was a princess too, because their grandfather was king of the United Kingdom. So her father's father, he was not a very nice man. If you watch the King's Speech, you actually find out quite a bit, because it's all about her father, right? And to some degree her, because he had a speech impediment and they were really mean to him. about that. They were quite mean to him. So this is the picture, though. Look at that. Okay, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Elizabeth and Margaret first lived in a townhouse in London. It had 25 bedrooms and a ballroom, but it wasn't a palace. Wow, that's a big house. Lilibet, that was Elizabeth's nickname, was smart, a little shy, and very organized. Before bedtime, she lined up her toy horses and pretended to feed them. She liked horses a lot. She still does. The girls didn't go to school. They had lessons at home. Their family was close and happy. No one thought Elizabeth and Margaret's father would ever be king. Their uncle, his brother, was next in line to the throne. Like I was saying, she still likes horses to this day. Let's see. When Elizabeth was 10 years old, everything changed. Her grandfather passed away, and her uncle became king, but only for a short time. Now suddenly, Elizabeth's father had to be king. Since he didn't have a son, his oldest child, Elizabeth, was his heir to the throne. One day, she would be queen. The family moved into Buckingham Palace. The king didn't make the laws of the land. That power belonged to Parliament. Still, Britain's ruler had an important role, and Elizabeth's father wanted her to be prepared. He taught her to feel a sense of duty. Elizabeth grew up believing that she served the people, not that the people served her, which is beautiful, and obviously not every ruler thinks that. I think her father was a good man. Anybody see the corgi? She still has corgis. Anybody see the corgi? Yes, the corgi's right there. In 1939, well, we all know what happened in 1939. Hitler's army invaded Poland, which started World War II. The king and queen stayed in Buckingham Palace, even as it was bombed. For safety, the two princesses lived at Windsor Castle in the countryside. The crown jewels were hidden there too, 60 feet under the castle, in a biscuit tin. And when peace comes, remember, it will be for us, the children of today, to make the world of tomorrow a better and happier place. During the war, Princess Elizabeth wanted to help. She raised money for the troops. She gave a radio speech to cheer up children like her who were away from home because of the war. Yeah, and that happened a lot because they were bombing. They bombed, London so badly. Because, of course, Germany and London and England weren't that far apart. And so a lot of the people really struggled with that. So a lot of things were actually destroyed in the 40s. Beautiful buildings, all kinds of records because of what happened, right? And the kids, they would get sent off into the countryside because they weren't bombing there. That's actually, not to change the subject, but The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe was actually set that way too because they were living in a very big mansion with the professor. So that's how that all happened too. So, okay, in 1945, when Elizabeth was 18, she signed up for the women's branch of the British Army. She learned to change tires, strip an engine, and drive large trucks. One day, on the day the war ended, crowds of people cheered and danced in the streets outside of Buckingham Palace. Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret happily joined them. See, there you go. I went to Queen Elizabeth Senior Secondary. That we used to name them after royalty. That was a good thing to do. We don't do that anymore, but you know. And then there was another one in Surrey called Princess Margaret, and they're both still called that. So anyway, after the war, things didn't get better right away. London had been bombed and would need to be rebuilt. But soon came some happy news, a royal wedding. Elizabeth was in love. She had just met the charming, handsome Philip when she was 8 years old. Now, proviso. What they used to do back then was marry off the royal houses of Europe. So I think he was like a prince, like a Greek prince or something. So they actually did a lot of that because Queen Victoria, of course, was the matriarch. She was the, she was the one that had so many kids. And then she married her kids off to all the other crowned heads of Europe too. So they're all kind of related in a way. So her husband was another crown prince. So she didn't really have a lot of choice. So I don't know how much they actually loved each other, but I think maybe they grew to love each other. Not like William, who actually married her. Not that she was a commoner really either, but she wasn't, royalty when he married her, but she's done a very good job. And of course, we all know how Harry's wife was clearly not royalty either. Although I thought she was pretty good in suits, you know. Anyway, they met again when she was 13, and for years they had written letters back and forth. On November 20th, 1947, they got married. See, they got married. So that's Prince Philip, who did recently die. He was very aged, though. Sadly, Elizabeth's father passed away a few years later. Elizabeth, her family, and the country mourned the king. When she was just 25 years old, Elizabeth rode to Westminster Abbey in a fancy gold coach pulled by 8 horses. Wearing a white satin dress and a plush purple robe, she swore to govern with justice and mercy. And she has. A heavy crown was placed upon her head, literally and metaphorically. England had a new queen, Elizabeth II. Now, those of us who have studied English history, when I used to be in the English and the social studies classes when I was in EA, know that Elizabeth I was also a very powerful queen. Similar situation. And she ruled for, well, not quite as long as Elizabeth, but almost as long as Elizabeth. And that is why Queen Elizabeth took her name, because she could change her name if she wanted. Because the first Queen Elizabeth was so powerful, and she is too. Queen Elizabeth didn't wear a robe and a crown every day. She mostly wore colorful suits and hats. But every day she served the people and her country. She raised a family too. Elizabeth and Philip had 4 children, 3 boys and 1 girl. Right, so those are her kids. Yeah, Prince Andrew is somewhat disgraced. Prince Edward really never was much of a part of things because he was sort of so far away. Prince Charles was very much raised to be king, and I think Princess Anne, because women didn't have as much power or ability back then, so I don't think she was raised to do much of anything. I think she got married, though, and that was good for her, because that's kind of what happened. Years passed, and then decades. Calm, steady Queen Elizabeth kept watch over her country. By tradition, the Queen stayed out of politics. She didn't even vote, but that didn't mean she didn't make changes. She became friends with Nelson Mandela and supported his work against racism in Africa. She also came to Canada all the time and was very happy to help us. She was here with Expo 86. She was here for the Commonwealth Games sometimes. And she just came all the time. She was with us. She visited Ireland despite its troubled history with Britain. She was the first British ruler to go there in 100 years. She backed a new British law allowing a ruler's oldest child, son or daughter, to be heir to the throne because his children, William's children, George and Charlotte and Louis, yeah, I'm trying to remember if there was another one. Charlotte, if she had been born first, would not have been able to be ruler even though she was eldest. And they changed that. William asked her to change that. So she was second born, but if she had been firstborn, she would have been able to rule. And that will happen now in perpetuity. If he has kids, when George has kids, presumably, and he has a daughter, his daughter would rule over any son that came after. So that's kind of extraordinary. So let's keep going. Being queen wasn't always easy. Queen Elizabeth once famously said that 1992 was her annus horribilis, which I believe is Latin for her horrible year. Her children, now grown, were unhappy. Her heir, Prince Charles, separated from his wife, Princess Diana. Then Windsor Castle caught on fire. Slowly things settled down. Her grandchildren got married and had children of their own. And of course, I wonder what anybody would say now, considering what's going on in the world. And she also did the most amazing thing. She did a Christmas Day service every single year. The Queen's Christmas message. It was a big part of Christmas. I used to watch it with my daddy and my family, such as it was. But we all watched it together. In 2012, Britain celebrated something very special, a Diamond Jubilee. Elizabeth had been queen for 60 years. There were concerts, fireworks, and picnics. People lined the streets to cheer. With her family around her, Queen Elizabeth watched and waved and smiled. A few years later, on September 9th, 2015, Queen Elizabeth II became Britain's longest ruling monarch, overtaking her great-great-grandmother, Queen Victoria. And in 2022, which is Elizabeth marked 70 years on the throne to honor her. Britain threw her its Platinum Jubilee. I was there. I watched it. It was extraordinary. Woo, everybody. In war and peace, in good times, in bad times, Queen Elizabeth carried on. And that's where the famous saying, keep calm and carry on, by her father. And by working hard, she won the people's respect. She always put the crown and the country above everything else. There we go. And that is our Bears Book Corner about Queen Elizabeth. What did you think, baby? I know. I loved it too. Because she's our queen in Canada. Absolutely. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So, the Bear and Jill Show.